Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And we're still working on Prokofiev, and now we're coming to operas and things. It's starting to get very interesting, I have to say. And first, The Gamblers. The Gamblers with Gergiev and the Kirov people. I have to say, I love this opera and I love this performance. Gergiev's Russian operas, pardon me, they were Russian opera series, was really important. And some of it was incredible. And they had a season, they would do a season, it seemed to me, every year, every other year at the Met. And I saw this there, and it was just brilliant. Wonderful fun, especially when the gambling started and the whole stage lit up. It was wonderfully staged, really, really great stuff. Just beautiful and fast and exciting, and it's Dostoevsky. How can you not love it? It's early Prokofiev. It's sort of edgy. It doesn't have like lots of tunes, but it has lots of colors. And it's just fun. And so is this. Oh, yeah, The Love for Three Oranges, another wonderful production that is of an opera that's not very often performed. It's really crazy. My sister saw this, actually, when she was doing a semester abroad at Covent Garden. And that was the production that had scratch and sniff cards. Which I think is just hilarious. She called me actually, and she said, I'll never forget, she called me up and she said, I have a choice. She said, I can go see one of two operas. I can see The Love for Three Oranges, or I can see the Return of Ulysses by Monteverdi. Which should I go see? And I said to her, oh, God, is that a no-brainer? Go see The Love for Three Oranges. Not that Monteverdi isn't wonderful, but if you're not a dyed-in-the-wool opera goer, or Renaissance music person, or early Baroque music person, then you really are going to want to, It was fun. She had a great time. That's the point. That's what matters. Oh yes, Szell, two of his worst performances. Prokofiev fifth. His performance of this symphony was fast and glib, wonderfully played, completely unidiomatic and lacking in impact. Really, really shocking. And, he did this performance everywhere. It was one of his signature pieces of sort of modernish, not German music. And he blew it no matter who he did it with. And the Bartok Concerto for Orchestra, another piece where, he couldn't decide which ending he liked, so he did his own. I mean, it's weird. It's weird, and again, no matter how good the playing is, you can't avoid the fact that it's just not really very idiomatic or interesting. Actually, the funny thing about Szell is that he was actually Hungarian, but he never really liked it. He wanted to be Czech. It seems he was much better at Czech music than Hungarian music, no question about that. Then we've got, Alexander Nevsky with Thomas Schippers. Fantastic performance. Really probably the best one until Abbado came along. It's very, very fine and very well recorded. Absolutely terrific. Then you've got Pictures in an Exhibition, also a very good performance. We need a Schippers box, badly. You've already said that. All of you have. His opera recordings and his orchestral music recordings, which there aren't a lot of. I mean, there was a Barber and some other things. But he was a fine conductor. And this stuff is great. That stuff is just great. So we really need an adequate tribute to him. Alexander Nevsky, The Stone Flower, Suites from Lieutenant Kijé, The Love for Three Oranges, with Charles Dutoit. Let's see, what's Dutoit doing? He's doing Nevsky, Kijé, and Oranges. And then you've got Dreams, the symphonic poem with Ashkenazi, which is cool. It's very different. Vision Fugitive, orchestrated by Barshai, with Mariner and the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields, and the Suite from The Stone Flower, 52 minutes worth of it, with Suisse Romande and Silvio Varviso. Well, I mean, the Dutoit stuff isn't fabulous. It's okay. It's all right. It's not as good as the ones we just talked about, Schippers and Abbado and people like Reiner, They're all better. But it's good. The suites are okay. And the rest of this is rather interesting. So I kept it. Why not? Wouldn't you? And then we've got more piano sonatas with Bernd Glemser. Now, I've already talked about just what a fine pianist Glemser is, and a fine Prokofiev pianist. He isn't the zippiest in the world. He's a serious, probing, thoughtful keyboard virtuoso. He's got the technique, and his performances are always sober and interesting. Both, I think. I like this cycle. I think it's very, very good. So I've hung on to it. Romeo and Juliet suites with Paavo Järvi and Cincinnati, the complete suites from the ballet, all of them. There are 3. And usually you get 2 of them, and you don't even get all of both of them when you get 2 of them. So this is the whole shebangy, 74 minutes, and beautifully recorded, and they're very good performances. I had this on my iPhone for many, many years, and I used to play it in the car, for friends of mine particularly, to get them to shut up for 74 minutes. Then we've got Romeo and Juliet with Ashkenazi and Royal Phil. Very underrated. He knows his Prokofiev and his ballets. His Cinderella was terrific. And this is a very good Romeo and Juliet. Nobody gives it time of day. It's better, for example, than Gergiev by a long shot. It's good, very well recorded, nicely conducted, natural and idiomatic, and it's good. It's a keeper. Absolutely a keeper. And this one is what? Oh, yes. The old Rite of Spring, again with sweetener that I stuff everywhere that I could put it because it's so exciting, with the Staatskapelle Dresden and Prokofiev, the Scythian Suite with the Staatskapelle Berlin and Witold Rowicki. Not perhaps the most idiomatic or pulverizing version of the Scythian Suite, but interesting for who's doing it. So I put it in the overflow room where it belongs. And last but not least, Symphony No. 7, the Age of Gold Suite, and the Capriccio Espagnol with Jean Martinon, and the Paris Conservatoire Orchestra in the Symphony No. 7, and the Russian Overture, the Shostakovich Age of Gold, and Capriccio Espagnol with the London Symphony Orchestra, and Martinon. These are good. This 7th is probably the best of Martinon's Decca Prokofiev things, because the 5th Symphony didn't go too well, and I think he did the Classical Symphony too. That was okay. But yeah, this is worth hearing. It is early Decca Martinon, which is really fun. I'll never forget seeing the original notes for these Martinon things when they were on LP. They were by not John Colshar. What was his name? What was his name? Roger Marsh or something. I don't know. Well, you guys probably know who he was. But he said, Jean Martinon is an interesting conductor. After making a few recordings for Decca and then failing in Chicago with RCA, he went back to France and died. No one knows what became of him. Well, what became of him is that he proceeded to record like the entire 20th century French interesting repertoire for Hirado and EMI, and it was fabulous. Just Ray Minshall, that's who it was. Ray Minshall, as I recall, I think. Anyway, it was just one of those head-scratching comments. Anyway, there you have it. Lots of Prokofiev, and there's more to come. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.